Lord, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Yeah, that part. This live stream may not be for you, it may be for you. But consider this. We trespass against folks in our lifetime and things like that. We have people who trespass against us, Um, we overstep our bounds and things like that. Sometimes you have people who, betray you or you betray them or whatever the case may be. It's sometimes just trying to rebuild trust and, in situations and relationships, sometimes you lose out on relationships that you can never really get back into because, things go astray, you know. I mean, this is appropriate to talk about, just I guess considering the fact that, you know, Father's Day is coming up. I'm just thinking about different stuff as it pertains to that. I gotta get some water. I don't expect too many people to be on. If anybody on tonight, you know. But it happens. Thank you for one person to come through. You know. Mm. But yeah, I guess we have those things. I don't know how to put this in the proper context, in the proper wording and whatnot. Sometimes we need to just forgive each other. As far as different things. Sometimes you can never forgive. It's a crazy situation how it goes in life sometimes. How we betray each other as people, or we may overstep, or overreach in situations. I really don't know how to explain it, but you do have things like that. What's going on? What's going on, Yas Poet? Thank you for coming through. We do have trespasses. We do have betrayals that come. That we have times when we probably betrayed people and people have betrayed us. It's like, how do you come back from that? I mean, where do you go? What do you do? So just thoughts in my mind as far as it goes, about that. This may not be the thing that most people want to talk about right now, but it's all good. It's definitely all good. I'm here just, vibing or whatever the case may be. It's crazy. It's crazy sometimes. How do you rebuild relationships, once they've, fell apart? How do you, come back from a situation where there's gossip, there's, a mistrust that's in the air? What do you do? Sometimes you start from the beginning and you realize that you may never be able to build a relationship back to the way it was. Once you cross a line, with somebody, be it family, be it friends, be it coworkers, sometimes things are never really the same. We like to believe and pretend like they are, but sometimes it's just not the case. Betrayal is one thing. What did the rapper say? What did the songwriter say? He said love in, love out. He says trust is a luxury I can't afford. Betrayal is just something that I can't ignore. And it is a saying that goes. It says betrayal never really comes from a stranger. So, we do have those, who are, close to us, who betray us. And we do have those that are close to us that we've betrayed. It's like, how do you find yourself, in the midst of a situation where you recover? And sometimes you can recover slowly over time, over being honest with yourself about what you've done, and just, trying to come back slowly, into a situation with somebody. I mean, we do trespass with, the way we may judge people, the way we may gossip, the way we may do particular things. It's not always easy. It's a shame that's involved with it, when you realize what you've done, as far as, if it's you ruptured a relationship with, your child or, your spouse or your family members, or you may have said things that were wild or whatever the case. Yes, I'm good. I'm good, Yas Poet. I'm just still recovering from a cold, but I'm just postulating. I'm just thinking. I'm just having these thoughts be said or whatever the case may be. I was thinking about some stuff the other night or whatever the case may be, and it just brought me to this conversation about trespasses and betrayals and things like that. So I figured it was appropriate to talk about. Why not? Especially with Father's Day coming up, it's just some things on my mind that I really am not going to go too deep into, but maybe in another live stream I'll definitely touch on it and give it give it what needs to be done. But for the most part, yeah, a lot of of times we need to be forgiven. We need to learn how to forgive other folks. Sometimes it's hard to forgive folks, in a particular situation, because it's the one thing sometimes we don't really want to do. We really don't want to forgive somebody for trespassing against us or betraying us. Sometimes we really don't want to say, hey, I see you differently, or maybe we could come back from this falling out that we have. And it takes time. Sometimes when you have people, who come against you for whatever reason, or you go against them, it's an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth type situation. And I think Gandhi said, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. It is a challenge, and I think Martin Luther King said, never let a man bring you so low as to hate them, but it is a challenge, I mean, you don't want to go around hating people, but, people will do things to you and make you feel some type of way to where you have strife and envy and anger and pain and hatred in your heart. It's a reality. Sometimes people may cross you in ways that you never thought would happen. So it's like, how do you recover from that? How do you come back from the edge? How do you come back from a dark place? And it's easy, it's possible. You try to find yourself in light, around peace, around people who love and care about you and support you. You try not to have yourself in a situation around people, who won't be real with you, who won't love you, and give you constructive criticism and stuff like that. It is a situation where it's challenging. You know, and then to be forgiven for your trespasses when we've overstepped our bounds. When we thought we knew what was best for somebody or something like that. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate those folks that are coming through. Forgive me. I'm just talking and whatnot. I'm just vibing right now. Just talking about something that's on my mind. This is not a particular thing, a shot at anybody. This is not directed at any one particular person. This live stream. I'm just talking about how sometimes we need to be forgiven for our trespasses. We need to be forgiven for our betrayals, for our bad habits, for the things that we've done towards other people, and towards the things that other people that have done towards us. If that makes sense. I'm tongue twisted. Okay, let me say that again. Sometimes we need to be forgiven for the bad things that we've done against other people, and vice versa. So there goes the saying, the Lord's Prayer. Lord, forgive us for our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. So it is that temptation, to, be caught up in negativity, to be caught up in strife, to constantly be, at war with somebody else and in war with our own soul and stuff like that, and, it's crazy, you know, it's definitely crazy. It's just one of those things where you have to ask yourself, who do you want to be? And the crazy thing about it is, like somebody was telling me, old timer was telling me, he said, you forgive not for the other person's sake, but for your own. When you have somebody trespass against you, because at the end of the day, you don't want to hold on to that negativity. You don't want to constantly be in a negative space. You know what I'm saying? What's going on? As you're great, thank you for coming through. Yeah, it's all good. We all need to hear something. Thank you for stopping by. I'm just, sharing some wisdom that I was given to me. I'm not as wise as I would like to be, but thank you for coming by. I appreciate that. A lot of times, there's a humility with understanding that we may have, trespassed against people, we may have betrayed people or hurt people in our lives. Everything is not all everybody else's fault. Shakespeare said, the fault lies not in our stars, but in ourselves. So when I have, conflict or trespasses, things that I've done, or situations that have gone left, I look at the part that I've played first. And then I start to look at, what other, situations may have, factored into, whatever problems or strife or, negativity that have come, from my trespasses. You modestly self-efface, you look in the mirror, you say to yourself, what have I done? First, not to beat yourself up, but just to be realistic, just to be, coming from a humble point of view, just looking and saying, hey, I don't have it all figured out. And that's just me. I can't speak for everybody else. I know I don't have it all figured out. I know there's times when I need to just sit down, say a prayer, figure it out, go to the side, work it out, just take time to decompress, just do what I need to do to get my mind right, to get my soul right, whatever the case may be. And it's a challenge, in this world. It's so easy to feed into the negativity, to feed into negative emotions, to say, hey, you know what, if you trespass against me and betray me, why not I go out there and betray somebody else? So it's, just like each one can teach one, each one can tear one down. And it's easy to tear somebody down, but if you want to be great in this world, if you want to be, somebody of value, of worth your salt, you have to learn to heal, to love, to be peaceable. And one of the hardest things to do is to forgive. Forgiveness, man, is hard. It is challenging to forgive, because sometimes it's the last thing we want to do. It's the last thing you want to do is to give anybody that one up, that chance, that challenge, to just come out of a situation and be friends, or to be cool again, or just to be peaceable with a person. Sometimes folks don't want to give people, that grace, that ithacus called gratis, as it is said, that mercy, sometimes, it's just like, hey, you did me wrong, so I'm gonna do you wrong, so sometimes it's just like that. And I'm not saying it's right, but I understand where people, when they come from, that vein, that space. Sometimes you just don't know how to let go of those emotions. But in time, I've seen it. It takes time. They say time heals all wounds. In time you can find yourself to the point where you're willing to forgive. Or willing to be forgiven. It takes time. It takes time. It's not easy. It's not easy. But what's going on, boss lady Lexi? Thank you for coming through. I'm just talking about forgiveness. I'm talking about trespassing, betrayal. Sometimes when we betray people, when folks have betrayed us, willing to be forgiven, willing to forgive, coming out of a situation, that you may have been in, So yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think you understand too, boss lady Lexi. Sometimes you really don't want to forgive. Sometimes people have trespassed you one too many times, and you like, look, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you related to me, not related to me, baby daddy, baby mother, work co-worker, not co-worker. It's like I want nothing to do with you. And that's no way to live our lives, especially if you want to move on and just be peaceable or just be a productive, part of humanity, society. Like I talked about in the live stream earlier on, it's about seeing the bigger picture, humanity as it pertains to all of us living one life. We don't always have to agree, we don't always have to be on the same page, but for the most part, it is about understanding that it's about more than just being in pain and strife and whatnot. We could go into what causes people to betray each other, trespass against each other. It could be envy, jealousy, malice, strife, and hatred, whatever. But the thing is, how do you come back from it? When folks are ready to forgive or ready to be forgiven. How do you get past the point where you don't want to forgive? And I think that comes in time. I think that comes in an openness, a willingness to really look at ourselves and see the part that we played in any particular, conflict or like just disagreement or whatever the case may be. It's not easy sometimes. It's not easy. Time reveals. I appreciate you for coming through. Thank you. Thank you. I'm just having one of those. This is a chill kickback live stream, but it's still one of those deep, heavy conversations. This one I'll say is a little bit heavy because even I didn't know how to start this one off. But yeah, sometimes we need to be forgiven for our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And sometimes that's the hardest part, being forgiven is one thing, but then also too turning around and forgiving. What's going on, Lulu? I seen you over there, Cap Sevens live stream. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you for being here. Like I said, I'm just, talking real quick, just giving a few minutes of my time to the people just to, talk about the thoughts and things that's on my mind, whatever the case may be. I'm just talking about forgiveness. I guess this is about trespasses, betrayal, and stuff like that. And it's hard sometimes when it comes to betrayal because betrayal never comes from a stranger. It always comes from a friend. It always comes from somebody you know. Strangers can't betray you, especially if they don't know you, So it is kind of crazy like that. Molly Dolly, I appreciate you for coming through. Thank you. Thank you for being here as well, So, it is that situation though, we try to come at peace with what we've done to other people and what other people have done to us, because all of us are not perfect. What's going on, Mac Truck? Appreciate you for coming through. Always, always, always grateful for you to come through. Grateful for everybody to come through, But with me, why I have this live stream and I talk about this right now is because I try to be humble about, me and be realistic, and I apologize to anybody or, well, sometimes you can't apologize for stuff you meant to do, but I say, um, if I hurt anybody out there or done anything to anybody, that may have betrayed them or put them in the wrong way, I definitely, admit my wrongdoing and, ask for forgiveness if that's the case or whatever the case may be. I'm not saying I'm perfect, and I say forgive me for my imperfections or my shortcomings or anything like that. So, and I say that to anybody that I've come in contact with or come across, even people that I will come across. It's just about being humble and being mature enough to say, you know what, I don't have it all figured out. I won't have it all figured out. There's times I'm gonna be wrong. There's times when I'm just gonna think that I got it all together and I don't. And I'm not trying to condone any future actions that I may do. You know, it's just important to say, when the focus when you're wrong, or apologize for when it's something that you didn't mean to do. Sometimes we do things and we'll say sorry for something, when truthfully, we really, are only sorry that we got caught. Sometimes you may have betrayed somebody in a relationship that was important or should have been important, and you're sorry after the fact because you got caught out there, when in fact, you wasn't sorry, you was just wrong. You sorry you got caught, and sometimes we have situations like that, and then turn it around and not using that against somebody else. What's going on, Cargo 619? I saw you just uploaded a video, so people check out Cargo 619. She just uploaded a video on her channel. I know it's something awesome. I don't know what it is, but I know it's awesome because it's coming from her. Old Canada. Shout out to Canada. Or special consideration to Pet Monster, who was out there with Granny Monster. She had a live stream and whatnot. Yeah, it's fabric and whatnot. Very excited. Well, listen, I will be excited to watch that fabric haul, Cargo 619. I saw the alert come by. I didn't want to get too giddy and too excited. I don't want my phone to fall over and crack, but I knew it was a new Cargo 619 video. I have to consume it, so I will be over there to watch it. I'm not as awesome as I would like to be, Cargo 619, but I've heard rumors, so thank you. But for the most part, like I said, in this live stream, this is just about a self-realization, coming to one's, realization that at times it's not always the other person's fault in the conflict. What's going on, Bracy? Appreciate you. Yeah. I know you would like that. That's funny. That's funny. What's going on, Corey? Appreciate you for being here. A lot of cool people in the chat right now, but it just comes down to that sometimes. And I'm not saying beat yourself up or take yourself down on a situation like that. Sometimes it just comes is a two-way street. Never believe rumors. There you go. Funny Molly Dolly. Yeah, never believe rumors. Only when you hear good things about Mel Mel. But for the most part, yeah, this whole piece is just about forgiveness. Like I said, it's challenging. It's challenging to forgive. It's challenging to be forgiven. So it's a struggle because realistically, a lot of times we don't want to give people that win. We don't want to let go of that pain or that negativity. Sometimes it can become a part of our identity. It can become a part of our coping, with situations that we may have been through, stuff that we may have faced with other people and stuff like that. Because betrayal, no matter if you're the person that's doing it or coming towards you, it hurts. Betrayal, sometimes it hurts to betray somebody. And it definitely hurts to be betrayed. I'm not gonna sit here and front with you like, somebody turning their back on you is cool. Forgiveness is balanced, but I struggle with it sometimes. Listen, Molly Dolly, I struggle with forgiveness myself. I would love to tell you that I forgive all the way every time with no qualms. Please. Sometimes it could be years before I forgive somebody. It could be 10, 20 years. Sometimes a person die in the grave and you're still trying to, mull over the fact that you haven't forgiven this person. I had a person that I knew one time, who just before they died, we got to a peaceable situation, but it was kind of sad because the person was in ICU, and it just was never really the same, because I never really got to reconcile with the person before they truly died. It was kind of one of those things where we talked, but we didn't really get to talk like we should have, so I know what it's like, to wait too long to forgive a person or whatever the case, or be forgiven by a person, or have those conversations like you need to have with a person when they're alive and well, and you can give them the flowers and you can have the lunch and the real life conversations and stuff like that. Forgiving, people about things takes a weight off of your shoulders, a burden off your heart and stuff like that. But it takes time. Yeah, it takes time because it's not for the faint of heart. Sometimes you say you forgive a person, but in the back of your mind, you hope they fall down a flight of steps or get hit by a car, and you got to get over that part. I mean, yeah, I know I said that, but I don't want anybody to get hit by a car. I'm just saying hypothetically. But for the most part, like I was saying, you have those things where, it's a struggle sometimes. The emotional impact of being betrayed and, the emotional impact of how, you betraying somebody else. Sometimes there's a shame in betraying somebody else and seeing how that comes. Yeah, fingers crossed, right? Wally Dolly. It's a shame that comes with being put out there because you betrayed somebody and they caught you out there and they say, hey, look at you, this is what you did to me. I've had situations where people have been ashamed, by stuff that they've done, or they can't face you or look you in the eye because they know they were wrong, that they wronged you, something like that. So it's that part, it's learning how to be humble and have humility, even when you realize that you have somebody and you have the upper hand on them because they have shame. So it's not about being prideful, as I say now, I have you, I want you, I'll crush you, because then we're no better than that person who was ashamed for betraying us. It's kind of crazy like that. So, we got to remember that we human beings and stuff like that. And shout out to Lynn Denton. Lynn Denton just uploaded a video out there. Anybody don't know Lynn Denton? If you know her, check her out. And I encourage you to check each other out in the chat or whatever the case may be. A lot of cool people here tonight. Thank you for coming through. I know I definitely appreciate that. But hopefully you can relate to where I'm coming from, because it's a situation where we've all had situations where if we've never betrayed anybody, we've been betrayed. If we've never had to forgive anybody, we've needed to be forgiven, and vice versa, in situations. I would love to tell you that Mel is perfect. I would love to tell you that I've never done anything to a point where, I've betrayed people or I've hurt people. I'm not saying anything horrific. I'm not committing no crimes or nothing crazy like that. But at the same time, you can do stuff that really hurt people's feelings or say things to them that really, like may put them in a bad way. And, like I said, for that, I just hope, like I said, I haven't done any irreparable damage or anything like that. And in that situation, you just admit to your wrongdoing and try to change, from that situation. And sometimes the reality is that, as much as we may want to be forgiven, sometimes on the other side, people may never forgive us, and it's just trying to live with that, wanting to be forgiven, wanting to do right by a person, and then having to deal with the fact that they may never let it go, you know, being a betrayer. When you're the betrayer, you're the person that says, hey, I'm sorry I betrayed you, or I didn't mean it, or I meant it, but I was wrong. How do you deal with that, when somebody's on the other end saying that I will never be cool with you, I will never love you, I will never care about you again like I've done. Sometimes you have to just take that one, chalk it up as experience and move on. Sometimes that's the hardest ones to deal with when you've changed, but the other person on the other end that you wronged haven't changed. They're just looking at you like you're the same person. I've had people say that to me. You're just the same you was 10 years ago. Nothing's changed about you. Nothing is different. Nothing is significantly altered about you to where you're a different person, even though and the people that you're around know that you've changed and you've grown in so many different ways. It's a challenge. That's why within your heart, you have to have peace within your heart. And sometimes you just pray for a person and keep it going. You can't really worry too deeply about it, even if it hurts you. Even if it's something that bothers you deeply, immensely. Sometimes it's just a part of the situation. That's just how it goes down. And, you can't really sit around dwelling on it, because if you dwell on it, then you can't move on with your life. You have to reconcile and make peace with whatever you've done, whatever you've been into. And then sometimes on the flip side, like I said, being that person that has to forgive, sometimes it's a challenge, but being able to forgive, somebody takes a burden off your shoulder just as much as being forgiven. It lets you go, it frees you of that pain, that strife, that past situation. Because if we keep holding on to the past, if we keep holding on to the negativity that we experienced, then we'll always have that thing present with us. That time where a person may have lied to us, that time where a person may have stole or physically attacked us, or whatever the case may be. or just outright, just disrespected us in any type of way. So, I'm not saying to condone and just forget about any and everything that people have done. I mean, it's good to forget and move on from that, but you be wise. Forgiveness, but it comes with wisdom. Just being aware. How did the old timer tell me? The old timer says that the memories fade, but the wisdom remains. So you want the memory to fade, but you want the wisdom of the situation to remain. You want to be able to forget about what happened, and then turn around and say, you know what? The wisdom is still there. I still remember the behavior and the characteristics. I know what it felt like, what it looked like. I may not remember, the words and all that stuff, the particular, circumstances, but I know what it felt like when I was being taken disadvantage, when I was being taken advantage of. I know what it felt like to be betrayed. I know what it felt like to be lied to. I know what it felt like to be gossiped about. I know what that was. So it's kind of crazy, how it comes, when it pertains to that, but, like I said, I'll pray for the wisdom to be there, in the midst of that forgiveness, be it the one, that needs to be forgiven, be it the one that's the forgiver. Sometimes it's a challenge to, be, either one, so, that's just what that is. What's going on, Mark Plays? Just having a deep conversation. I don't know how folks are taking to this, but it is one of those things. They may think I'm preaching, just talking, just talking. Yes, sometimes I have to remind myself that people might place a different level of value on friendship, and it doesn't mean it's anyone's fault. It's just the way it goes. Yes, this is true, Cargo 619. Sometimes it's just the way it is. People put different values on relationships, and that may mean that the relationship is not as solid as concrete as you thought it was, but it's a challenge to move on, to forgive and move on from that situation. But even with forgiveness, we realize and acknowledge that things are not really the same. Yes, I agree. It's a good point as well. Molly Dolly. So I mean, not everybody puts the same value on relationships in general, be it family, be it friends, be it coworkers, be it online, how that goes. Everybody values things differently. And it's important to know that just because one person may value it one way doesn't mean that the next person will. You may have a great friendship with one person, who thinks one way, and then another one thinks a different way. I'm watching you from the hospital, I had a heart attack, and I had fluid in my lungs. Sorry to hear that, Maria Rita. Thoughts and prayers with you. Sorry that you definitely are going through that horrific situation. Like I said again, thoughts and prayers with you. And wow, you listen to me from the hospital. I just want you to get well soon and just recover and get to where you need to be, because it's rough. But thoughts and prayers with you, Maria Rita. So, hopefully I said something in there, to make sense to you or whatever the case may be. Taking care of your health is definitely, crazy. Yeah. Sorry you had a heart attack or whatever. There's a couple of people, I can't say no names, but there's a couple of people who are facing those particular situations, who've had heart attacks recently, and I definitely send my thoughts and prayers out to you and all the other folks who've had issues with heart problems as of late, because I know it's been something that's been going around or whatever the case may be. And my thoughts and prayers to anybody else out there who's facing some issues now, who have yet to notice that, So it's kind of crazy, when it comes to cardiovascular, it's not a game out there. It's definitely not a game, So definitely, Maria Rita, thank you for even taking the time to stop by. But you're the one, that's definitely awesome for just even being strong enough to survive that and get through that. I have a coworker who's had a heart attack and whatnot, and that person is going strong and whatnot. So definitely, it's possible to recover and still work and still be upright and still be, in the place where you need to be and stuff like that. So, kudos to you for staying strong. Kudos for you for still fighting a good fight. Kudos to you for just, even listening to Mel on the live stream, whatever. I'm honored and I'm humbled, really, to tell you the truth. I'm humbled, by your presence in the chat room, because I know, especially with dealing with a life-threatening situation, like I said, you could be anywhere else right now. But I definitely appreciate you for being here, in this particular situation. So, I'm not gonna keep folks too long, so I'm at the 30-minute mark, and it's probably already 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And happy Father's Day to the fathers out there that are holding it down and taking care of their kids and doing what they got to do. Happy Father's Day to the mothers out there that are doing what they're supposed to do. You in place of the fathers or things that's not there. To the kids that's going through, situations with broken homes and not having your father around doesn't mean that it's over. You still got male role models out there. Just got to be willing to find them and whatnot. I pray that this message finds you well. And like I said, for those folks that's holding it down, continue to hold it down. Those fathers out there being positive role models and the ones doing what they have to do. Yeah, yeah. Yes, Molly Dolly. We do have a fabric hall to watch, and I encourage people to watch Cargo 619 Fabric Hall. Please do me that favor and go by and watch. Yes, I'm not a father, so but I'm a father figure to many. You know what I'm saying? I have no babies that I know of. Anybody that says that it is a baby, under my name and my DNA, you're a liar. But I love you all the way. To the future wife out there, whoever we may have kids with, don't worry, that's coming. But for the most part, I'm about to be out of here. And for dramatic effect, I guess I'll turn the light off. Anyway, I'm not a father. I'm leaving that. Yeah, funny. That's funny, Molly Dolly. But appreciate you for being here. More rumors, I know. But for dramatic effect, you're not a father either. Oh, okay. So who else is not a father? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm a father figure. You know what I'm saying? I don't have any children, but I got many sons in the street. You know what I'm saying? They call me Poppy. You know what I'm saying? But we'll leave that alone. As always, spread love is the Brooklyn way. For dramatic effect, he cut off the lights, right? Luke, I'm your father. Oh my God, you're funny. Love you all. Peace.